Bagpipe, a brand new university learning experience in the heart of Mabu. The Gaelic Foundations program is a first-year university learning experience in partnership with Cape Breton University. Immerse yourself in community, delve into a rich and living culture, and learn about the world through the viewpoint of the Gaels as you begin your next learning journey. Classes begin September of 2023. Bagpipe, we welcome you to an educational experience like no other. For more information, click your way over to bagpipe.ca.
So these are the bagpipes, and to be more specific, the Great Highland bagpipes. There's a lot of different types of pipes in the world. Almost every region in Europe developed its own take on bagpipes. So these were what was developed in Scotland over centuries. One of the more recognizable pipes out there just because of their influence in the British Army. This is what you'll have seen in parades or at funerals and weddings. They're quite popular. And I'll give you a little overview of how they work. Basically, you have a blowpipe that you blow into with a one-way valve at the end. So you fill up this bag as a reservoir, and then you force the air out with this elbow. And your whole aim is to keep the stream as constant as possible and the pressure as constant as possible. When you're forcing the air out, you force them out through the other pipes. These pipes that are on my shoulder are called drones, and they just produce that one long monotone note that you hear throughout the melody. And the longer one is a bass drone, so that'll produce a B flat in this case for this instrument. And then the tenor drones will produce the same note, but an octave higher. Then the melody comes out of this pipe called the chanter. And there's a number of holes on there. And inside the casing here is what we call the reed. And it's a double-bladed cane reed, much the same as an oboe reed. It has two tongues of cane. As the air passes through it, it vibrates and produces sound. And like any other woodwind, there's a bunch of holes on it, and the longer the sound has to travel down the pipe, the deeper the note, the lower the note is. So there's 9 notes in the pipe scale, so it's a little limited in that sense, and it's also limited as an instrument because there's only one volume, fairly loud, and you can't get louder, you can't get quieter, it's just one volume all the time. So to introduce dynamics into the music, we use a lot of gracing and ornamentation, and also to separate notes because you can't stop the melody. Once you're started, it's always playing melody. So to separate the notes, you use a lot of those gracings, and that gracing and ornamentation is something that really identifies pipe music. And that ornamentation, you still see it in the fiddle music and the music we know around here and in Scotland. It's informed a lot of the stylings that we use and the ornamentation that we use on the fiddle or any instrument.
I'm Roz.
And I'm Jen of Super Duper Soup.
It began about 5 years ago. It started when one friend asked me to make a bowl of soup. We were both laid off. And the next week, more friends asked for more soup, and the next thing we know,
Bing bang boom, we're working out of the Boys and Girls Club kitchen once a week doing deliveries. Did a trade show and it just went crazy from there. So we were like, we need to find our own space.
we're a small business, and when you start a small business, not really ever having been in this industry before, we had no idea what was involved.
You don't know what you don't know. Dealing with the East Coast Credit Union, it's just been so easy.
They're more than a bank. It's not every bank that knows your name. It's not every bank that comes and helps and brings you products that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, they know more than just our business. They know us and they know what we need. They're just a part of our team and they're there to help you. They want you to succeed.
They have a small business program and they get what small business is in Nova Scotia. Community means everything.
We feel very supported by not only the East Coast Credit Union, but our community in downtown Dartmouth as well. Building the relationship with East Coast Credit Union, I just know that going forward, they'll still be there for us. They'll continue to support us, not only as customers, but bringing us new products that will help us grow and continue to survive.
Here we are live from St. Anne's. Hello, everyone. Hooray! It's great to be here and have you all here. This is our second week back into our in-person Ceilidhs here. If you weren't already aware, we were doing them on the road as a little series from January to the end of March, which was really fun. And I think we might do that again if all works out next winter. That's the hope. It keeps everyone safe on the roads, and but the Ceilidhs continue online. But we're back in person. It's like a sign of spring, and feels great. We've got a lot of familiar faces here, so that's good. My name is Margie, in case we haven't met. I work here on staff. Hey, Brian. And we're veterans here now doing these things. And we've got two guests tonight, so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy. And a big hello to our online audience. That's a real nice growing community of sorts online because of these being so regular now. And we had a really nice little comment on one of our videos on YouTube. We put these on YouTube as well if you can't find them on Facebook. And a woman said that she was sharing videos with her mom, who was in some of her final days, as kind of a comforting sound from home. She's from the East Coast, so that's pretty special. So we're really pleased to be heard and watched by whomever, wherever. Lots of love out to all of you, and thank you for tuning in wherever you might be. And in case you haven't picked up on it, Barbie's in the back. Barbie's back and in the back, and is your key to oatcakes and tea and all the rest. So we'll get started here. I'll mention our second guest coming up is Andrew Doyle. You might be familiar. He comes from Sydney Mines. He's been here a good number of times already, and is a bit of a fan favorite, I think. I always see lots of rave reviews on our online chat when he sings. So hopefully we'll get some sing-along songs going soon. But then we'll start off here with Mr. Robert Deveaux, who's actually making his first time appearance with us for a Wednesday night Ceilidh, that is. And he came all the way from Ceilidh to be here, which is a real treat. So make him feel welcome. Here's Robert Deveaux. You can play if you like, and then we'll talk.
Me, Mel. My name is Robert. You all know that. What else can I tell you? I'm from Ceilidh. I kind of think maybe the first tune I played there might be a French tune, but I'm not sure. It's on the Vanishing Cape Breton Fiddler at the very end, when John Morris Rankin is playing He's Not Very Old. And my grandfather used to play that, and I asked Kinnan Beaton one time where that came from, and he said that they always called it Jimmy's Jig because they learned it from Jimmy Odo of New Waterford, who was originally from Ceilidh. So I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 tunes on the Vanishing Cape Breton Fiddler, and one of them is French, I think. Pretty sure it's a French tune. Maybe the next tune I'm going to play is also going to be a French tune that was recorded by the Beatons of Mabou. It was composed by Marcel Doucet. It's called Space Available, followed by, I think it's called Billy and Cornelia's Reel that Marcel made for that. And maybe I'll follow that by, if I don't go off the rails, Sheehan's Reel, which was an Irish tune that Angus Chisholm brought to Cape Breton from Boston. Played one that's called The Pigeon on the Gatepost, and in French they call it Pigeon sur la barrière, which means the pigeon on the gatepost. There's an A version of that, but this was the Angus Chisholm version that I think he might have changed it to G minor. And then I followed that by another tune that Brenda Stubbard calls You and I Real, that Cameron Chisholm told me that his father brought home from some lumber camp maybe that he was working in, and that he might have learned that out of someone from Quebec, I think is what he told me. So that might have also been a French tune, I don't know. How about we play another tune that was composed by Jerry Holland, named after Arthur Muse. And a lot of people don't know this, but Jerry himself was half French. His mother was from Quebec, and she had a very French accent when she spoke. So yeah, we're keeping it all among the French tonight. For the first half anyway. marches that I was going to play.
Oh, we have a group of marches?
Well, I had a couple of marches I thought I might play.
Go for it.
All right, here's a couple of tunes that I learned from listening to Teresa McClellan. And I actually learned them by ear. The first one, all of them really. And one day, shortly after Teresa moved into the nursing home in Port Hawkesbury, I had a car appointment at TriMac for my wife's car. And I was going to have to leave it there. So I went to visit Teresa and she said, "Where's your violin?" Well, I said, "I didn't bring it, Teresa." She said, "Don't come back here without your violin. When are you coming back?" Well, I said, "I'm coming back tomorrow to pick up my car." She said, "You be sure to bring your violin." So I did. Now I wanted to ask her about this tune, if I played it right. She was so happy to see the violin. And I have a habit, you might have noticed, I shut my eyes when I play sometimes to kind of forget that people are listening. And so I played the tune, and when I opened up my eyes again, she was all curled up in a ball and she was crying. And I thought, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, right? So I finished the tune and I pretended I didn't see, and she sat right up and she said, "More, more." So the same thing happened with, so then I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't play her tunes, right? So, but I didn't get to ask her if I was playing it right or not, but she didn't say I wasn't. I don't even know what it's called. I meant to ask her all that and I forgot. It's too late now, but I can play the tune.
It's not very often that we get a slew of marches, which is what Teresa was so known for. And that's something that I so appreciate about Robert, is his love of the old tunes and the old ways and the old music and the history that it all goes into it. He's still a young man, but he has a lot of history in him, and he's lived a lot of life, so it comes through in his music, which is great. So what a treat to have him. We'll have him back in a bit, and we'll get Andrew Doyle to come on up. Came all the way over from City Mines. And yeah, feel free to tell us anything about yourself if you're multilingual, or if you have, if you were, any stories from the road or the...
Well, I can speak broken English and Cape Bretonese, so I guess that would be
That's good.
my two languages.
We're fluent in that here too.
Profanity sometimes, but I don't know if that counts. But
So we'll make him feel welcome. This is Andrew Doyle.
stories from the road. Let me think about that one. So starts with this. I wanna be your beacon in the dark. When your ship rolls into dangerous waters, I wanna be your lighthouse song. And all around this little island, the angry waters rumble and roll. The sea is filled with good intentions, and women come right so. Well, I wanna be your lighthouse keeper. Well, I wanna be your beacon in the dark. When your ship rolls into dangerous waters, let me be your lighthouse keeper. Don't wanna be nobody's captain, playing the role of Noah's Ark. Don't wanna be your knight in shining armor, live them too from the start. I wanna be your lighthouse keeper. Well, I wanna be your beacon in the dark. Your ship rolls into dangerous waters. Well, I wanna be your lighthouse keeper. Your ship rolls into dangerous waters. I wanna be your lighthouse song. Thank you very much. Jimmy Rankin. Yes, my name is Andrew Doyle, as you've heard, and I am from Sydney Mines. I still live there on purpose. I love the town, believe it or not. I love to do music from people from Cape Breton, from the East Coast and things like that. And whenever I get the opportunity to do it, I try to cover as much as I can from the different regions in the island and from the beautiful diversity of the East Coast when it comes to writing and styles and things like that. So we'll keep a pattern going here. So we start with Jimmy Rankin, now I'll jump to another island in PEI and do a song with the incredible songwriter, Mr. Lenny Gallant. It's one of my favorites by him. Well, I still get up before the day breaks, and I still walk down to the shore. And I watch the sunrise from the eastern ocean, but I don't sail to meet it anymore. And how could they have let this happen? We saw it coming years ago. Greedy ships kept getting bigger and bigger, and so I told them where to go. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the waters, and Jesus pulled them with me. Where am I gonna go? What about this boat I own? What about the soul piano? What about my father's bones? Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the waters, and Jesus pulled them. Oh yeah, he pulled them in with me. Someone sang an old sea shanty, then Nina told him they had a land joke. Then Kelly cursed and swore until his voice gave out, and then he asked me for a smoke. And then he took his father's shotgun, walked to the harbor through the town. He fired 14 times, oh, everyone know. Then we all watched that boat go down. Last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the waters, and Jesus pulled them in with me. Oh, last night I dreamed that I was sailing out on the sea of Galilee. We cast our nets upon the waters, Jesus pulled them in with me. Oh yeah, he pulled them in with me. Well, I still get up before the day breaks, and I still walk down to the shore. And I watch the sunrise from the eastern ocean, but I don't sail to meet it anymore. Thank you very much. I swear it's just water. Okay. I know it doesn't look like that, but joke people say to me all the time when they see me drinking this, is they see their label, Smart Water. And they say, does it work? What do you mean doesn't work? They're like, smart water. The only smart person in that is the person who put smart water on and convinced me to pay $3 a bottle for it. That's the only smart person there, right? So. Next song I'm going to play for you is by someone I've had the opportunity to work with many times and open for and share the stage with a bunch of times, Mr. Matt Minglewood. And I get to do a show not too far off with Matt. And this is something that you may not have heard. A lot of people, when you hear Matt, you see these wonderful songs that he made, his songs like Me and the Boys and Can't You See and Cadillac and Rockin' the Blues and stuff like that. But when I heard this, I loved the tune. I fell in love with it right away. And it's actually written by Lenny Gallant. And so you just heard Lenny. This will be another song written by him that Matt played, another Cape Breton connection. If I remember correctly, Gordie Sampson played the guitar solo on this song. So if you ever go find it, and it's an incredible story. When I heard it, it just paints this beautiful picture of the story of this guy and how the song progresses through. And it's really interesting for me anyway. It's one of those Cape Breton blues tunes that I always enjoyed. So this is a song, I'm pretty sure it was on his Driving Wheel album. And like I said, written by Lenny Gallant, performed by Matt Minglewood. This is a song called Black Spruce River. Came late, but late was better than never. She says she finally reached the end of that man's tether. She says she's willing to run away, and if I mean the things I say, would I meet her tonight at the Black Spruce River? Well, there's people around here would like to know the reason. Well, I've been hanging around here when there ain't no work this season. Well, you can dress it up with lies, but love won't be denied. And the rumor mill still runs on the Black Spruce River. Oh, now, darling, darling, everything is gonna be alright. When the water runs wild and free, and I will hold you tight. Who's to say what's wrong or what is right on the banks of the Black Spruce River? It's a rocky road that seems to wind forever, and it's a cold wind cuts through this old coat of leather. But there's a fire that burns away all the fears of yesterday, and it warms me on my way to the Black Spruce River. Oh, now, darling, darling, everything is gonna be alright. When the water runs wild and free, and I'll hold you tight. Who's to say what's wrong or what is right on the banks of the Black Spruce River? I could see her there by the light of the half-moon's cradle, where the wooden bridge got washed away last April. And I could see her behind the wheel, but there's something wrong with the windshield, and there's nothing moving but the cold, cold river. And I days I walk with my headlight beaming behind me. Doesn't live to life this body, my tears they blind me. I never saw him taking aim, but I felt the searing pain as we fell together in the Black Spruce River. Oh, now, darling, darling, everything is gonna be alright. Where the water runs wild and free, and I'll hold you tight. Who's to say what's wrong or what is right? Oh, now, darling, darling, everything is gonna be alright. Where the water runs wild and free, and I'll hold you tight. We'll forget about what's wrong or what is right on the banks of the Black Spruce River. On the banks of the Black Spruce River. On the banks of the Black Spruce River. Thank you very much. Kind of a tragedy, but still a really great song. This next song is something that I wrote, and I wrote it with Fred Lavery back in 2009, 2010. And I had the absolute privilege of having Matt actually sing this song with me in the studio. We got to do a duet together on it, so which was really cool. And this was a song that I wrote about my father, who was a coal miner, who passed away in 2016 from Alzheimer's. And he worked underground for 37 years. And I sat down with Fred in the whole process of writing this song. And I'm not sure if I told this story here or not, but if I have, I apologize, but here it is. And basically, Fred said, okay, he said, tell me a story that your father told you when you were a kid about working underground. And I would tell Fred a story, and then we'd write a line. And he'd say, okay, tell me another story. And I'd tell him another story, and I'd write another line. And literally every line in the song was written that way. It's all, every line comes from a true story that I heard growing up in city mines. And right down to the chorus, which is one of the lines is, because God put this coal so far down, and that's a direct quote. My father was on the trip, and they were heading underground, and I forget how many kilometers he said they were, and they were playing cards on the train on the way underground to tell you how long the trip was. And he said he was sitting with one of our cousins, I think he was Harrietta, and he said, you know, my father's name was Eddie. He said, you know, Eddie, he said, God did his part. He said, he buried this stuff deep enough down here. He said, some dummy had to dig it up and find out what was good for something. He said, now here we are. He said, all this way under the ocean. He said, digging the stuff up for people. So that became the chorus of the song. And but anyway, like I said, we had the privilege of having Matt do the second verse on this in the studio. And this is Fred Lavery and I wrote this. This is a song, title track for my second album, which is called The Price. For any coal miners out there who are watching online, this was real. One sales money for a young man with a strong back. You close the books at 16 and you never look back. And underground, way down in the coal mine. Well, boy, became a man and left his childhood ways behind. Spare my life swinging a pig at an endless black seam. As hard as I try to wash it off, I'll never get my hands clean. At the end of the shift, I'll thank the Lord for watching over me, bringing me back home to the gift of wife and family. And I live my life in a cold black underground. God put this coal so Days will go by and I never see the light. That is the story of the miner's life. Well, my knees are gone, my back is shot, and my lungs are feeling heavy. I paid the bills and I paid the price, but it was worth every scar and penny. And I'm proud of everything I've done, 'cause I fought hard all the way. Now I'll lay that old pen shovel down and live for brighter days. 'Cause I live my life in a cold black underground. Sky put this cold so far down. Days will go by and I never see the light. But that is the story of the miner's life. Later now, aching bones won't let me rest. Ease my pain, there's a bottle in my medicine chest. I've earned the right to live my life the way that I see fit. Don't need no one's approval, that's just the way it is. And I live my life in a cold black underground. Sky put this cold so far down. Days will go by and I never see the light. That is the story of miner's life. That's the story, it's old but it's true. Thank you very much. Those are dark, all those songs were kind of in a row there, right? So I'll brighten it up a little bit now. So. I'm always trying to think of positive things, right? You know what I mean? So it's like my mom always told me, she said, oh, just play good music, play things that make people feel good. Anyone can feel sad. It's really hard to make people smile. And this is an old Irish tune. An old skating tune, some of you might remember from back in the day. We'd be skating around in circles and you hear this playing, and then after this you hear all turn, and then you have to turn around and go back the other way in the other circle, right? So. Aside from the love of music, a couple of things my parents told me. My mother had actually just recently passed away a few weeks ago, and when I did skate, Mom and Dad took me out, and I was the only kid that learned how to skate arm in arm in perfect stride, because that's how Mom and Dad would skate. Of course, Dad with the old hockey skates and Mom with the old leather racers on with the blades about that long, right? You know what I mean? So I learned how to skate arm in arm, so I was the only kid that knew how to do it. It's a great skill, because I got to teach all the girls, got to meet a lot of people from it, so thanks, Mom and Dad, you know what I mean? So this is one of those skating tunes. In a new little town they call Belfast, well, apprentice to trade I was found. And the ladies and our sweet happiness, and I spent the night in the town. When more misfortune came over me, and it caused me to stray from the land, far away from my friends and relations, I follow the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds, and you think she was queen of the land. And her hair all over her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. When I went out strolling one evening, wasn't meaning to go very far, when I came came across a young damsel who was selling her trade at the bar. When one she took from a customer and dropped it right into my hand. Then the law came and put me in prison, tied up to her black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds, and you'd think she was queen of the land. And her hair on her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. The next morning before Judge Judy, my trial I had to appear. And the judge, she set me on bail. Oh, the case against you is quite clear. And 7 long years is your sentence. You're going to Van Diemen's Land. Far away from my friends and relations, now follow the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds, and you think she was queen of the land. And her hair on her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. So come on, you jolly young fellows, I'll have you come listen to me. And whenever you get on the liquor device, beware of those pretty colleagues. They'll treat you to fine little brandy, and the next thing you know, be young man. Well, the law comes and puts you in prison. You wanna bend Van Diemen's Land. Her eyes, they shone like the diamonds, and you think she was queen of the land. And her hair on her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. Oh, her eyes, they shone like the diamonds, and you think she was queen of the land. And her hair on her shoulders, tied up with a black velvet band. Thank you very much. Oh, do one more? Cool, right on.
I've done the old Judge Judy one there.
Oh yeah, I completely stole that from Buddy McDonald. Oh yeah. Well, they used to say Judge Wapner, but no one got my 80s reference, so I had to update it to Judge Joy. You would have got it, thank you very much, yeah. So I heard Buddy do Judge Judy one night, and I said, okay, I'll upgrade it to Judge Judy, right? I'll steal that one, sorry. Buddy McDonald is one of my favorite human beings. If you've never seen him live, do yourself a favor, go check him out. Buddy's amazing and incredible to watch. So, wonderful man. Getting inducted into the Cape Breton Music Hall of Fame, coincidentally. So. I should be playing that. That's quite an honor to be asked. So I'll do. We've covered PEI and some Cape Breton stuff and some Cape Breton blues and one of my own, and now I'll do from somebody that I grew up watching and admiring and still do, and have had the opportunity to play with many times and love the guy to death. And this is a song by a guy from my hometown of Sydney Mines, Mr. Bruce Guthrow. So this is one of my favorites by him. This was a big hit for him back when I was in university, and this is a song called Walk This Road. This was a song that my buddy Corey Keeping used to love to play live when we played together. So send this out to you, Corey. Sun's coming up, feel a new day start. There ain't nobody trying to break my heart. The roof don't leak and the kids are fed. There's no strange women sleeping in my bed. I'm gonna walk this road, I'm gonna ride this way. Open up my soul and let the sun shine in. I'm gonna walk this road and ride this way. Open up my soul and let the sun shine in. I see the light, Lord bless my soul. No lightning struck, no thunder stole. We'll see the hill, no turning back. I got nothing to lose, there ain't nothing I lack. I'm gonna walk this road and ride this way. Open up my soul and let the sun shine in. I'm gonna walk this road and ride this way. Open up my soul and let the sun shine. The road's dark and I can't see right and go. The load is heavy and I'm not sure where I'm hauling. My body is weary and I feel I've lost this fight. Then you come calling, and oh, someday it'll lead me to your door, and I'll find the love I've never found before, and I will take my beatings along the way, and I will live to fight another day. I'm gonna walk this road and ride this way. Open up my soul and let the sun shine. I'm gonna walk this road and ride this way. Open up my soul and let the sun shine. And I'm gonna walk this road and ride this way. Open up my soul, let the sun shine. And I'm gonna walk this road and ride this way. Open up my soul and let the sun shine. Let it shine, yeah. Thank you very much, folks. My name is Andrew Doyle. Mark, you back.
Great. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
We'll get you for a little finale
Cool.
soon enough.
So great. Thanks to Andrew Doyle for lifting our spirits. Isn't that great? Good stuff. Where can we find more of your music if anyone's wondering online or here tonight?
iTunes.
iTunes is the best place.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
Good stuff. I didn't really ask too many questions about the audience tonight. Do we have anyone, just I'll say from away?
Mabu.
Yeah, I know. It is a drive. Because last week, I don't know if you heard the news, we were talking about it ever since, there were people from Belgium here. And it was a surprise. We're not quite in our tourist season. Yeah, I see a lot of our own people here. So, but it's really exciting when people make the trek. And especially when they come in the season, you know, the winter, early spring, you're getting the real deal. But anyway, yeah, I feel like I should make a few plugs. I'm the marketing person here, so it's always nice to advertise things while I'm on a microphone. So what was I going to say? Well, if you're interested in any of our programming, what's coming up next? Coming up in May is in Course-of-Boki. We might have a student here tonight. That's our immersion course, and that's looking good. That's all the month of May. And then we go into a spring Gaelic weekend in June that's coming up. We'll advertise that, I think, this week online. And then we have our summer school, which is our big focal point, which registration is now open for anyone that wants to come and join us for a week or two. I think our adult sessions are pretty well full as far as rooms, but there's always still spots available for day students. And then our youth sessions still have space. Kitchen Fest is before that. Kitchen Fest info is coming down the line. We're getting there. We'll let you know when that's out and launched. That's June 30th to July 8th. And then Bang Babu, which is our new initiative, which is going to take flight this September. And so registration is open now for anyone that's interested in accredited full-year course connected with CBU, or just for your own interest. That's all at bangbabu.ca, or you can talk to any of us. There's some nice bursaries available right now, so make sure to send Kenneth a note. In case you're wondering, Billy, I know you're probably wanting to go to school, you know? All right, so we're going to have some more tunes with Robert. Any other news to tell us, Robert?
What are we going to do now?
What are you going to do now? hat.
Oh, but since you brought it up,
Yeah, Margaret's got a great way of getting you to do
With
that.
the promote.
since you brought it up, yeah, so I just came back about maybe 3 weeks or a month ago from Montreal. I'll start right from the start. In 2004, it was the Acadian World Congress, le Congrès Mondial Acadien, in Nova Scotia. And so Celtic Colours invited Le Vent du Nord, a group from Montreal, they were very new back then, to Celtic Colours, and they invited Brent Aucoin and myself to open for them in Deveaux, Richmond County. And so right away we hit it off. They were really surprised to find anybody who spoke French at all around here. And I was really surprised to find that the repertoire of songs that I grew up with, they knew most of it, and we connected really quickly. I had verses to some of the songs that they were singing that they didn't know, and they had verses for the same songs that I didn't know. There was a lot of exchanges that went on. Pretty much every disc that they recorded ever since then had a song that I gave them, not least of all a song about the Fortress of Louisbourg and the first capitulation there, which was recorded by Helen Creighton across the street from where I grew up in 1944, 199 years after the fact of what happened. So they recorded that and they made it, world famous. At the start of the pandemic, two of those guys, they have a duo, and they invited me to participate on their next project. So we worked on this for about 3 years, bouncing files back and forth. And about, a month ago, we finished recording it, and it's in the mixing stages now. It's all French songs. Most of them are from Cape Breton. There's one that's from Nicola's grandmother, but the rest of them are all from either Cape Breton or two are from the Magdalen Islands. And it's all 18th century music, period, instruments, stuff that would have been played at the Fortress of Louisbourg. And probably here too, when this place was still called, what was it called? Fort Saint-Anne. Long before it was the Gaelic College. Anyway, that's what I've been working on, and we hope to launch the project at the Chant de Vielle Festival just around, almost before Kitchen Fest in Richelieu, just outside of Montreal. And maybe, hopefully, we can launch something here in October. We hope.
Exciting.
It is exciting. Yes, I was honored to be asked to participate. They asked me, I will add, which puts a big feather on my hat. What are we going to play now?
What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe I'll play the violin and you play the piano. How much time do we have?
We've got a good 15 minutes. We'll get a little finale in there too. So
Okay,
go
a
for
couple
it.
of jigs and then we'll play another march.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Great.
what shall we play? How about E minor?
I remember the name of Zero Tones, I know. Except for this one it starts with usually. It started this out. Yes, I know, Farm Farm. I remember that one.
Belgians from last week say hi.
Oh.
They're watching. Yeah.
Are they watching?
Yeah, they're watching.
Are they back home in Belgium?
I don't know.
Hopefully they made it home, or maybe they moved here permanently. What's that? I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. You know that. Happy that they were here and that we mentioned them. We missed them already. Well, we're gonna wrap up with a little number if you're up for it there, Andrew, and maybe a quick tune to end off the Ceilidh. A big thanks to our guests, Andrew and Robert, for coming all the way out.
Thank you so much for having us.
And then, of course, yourselves. It's really, as I mentioned off the top, it's great to be back, and it only works when you are here with us, and there's a lot of loyal support here, I have to say. And we hope you keep coming back. There'll be another one next week, and the week after, and the week after that. And if you happen to miss it, you know that they're online, and they're left up, or you can catch them on YouTube. They're there on demand, if you will. So thanks again. Thanks to Barbie, thanks to Ryan and Michael on sound, and everybody for making it just so. Thanks again. Thank you. Have a great night.
It depends. Yeah, maybe. I can do A. Would that do it? No, G is good. I'm just going to think of a tune that would fit in with. What are you going to sing? Let's see. I'll see what I can come up with.
Well, as my buddy Corey used to say when we were about to wing something, bless me, Father, for I'm about to sin. Here we go. When I was just a lad, a sailor's life was very hard, the food is always bad. So now I'm in the Navy, I'm aboard a man of war, and now I find a sailor ain't a sailor anymore. Go all on the ropes, don't climb up the mast, and if you see a sailing ship, it might be your last. Just get your cinies ready for another run ashore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. Well, the Gaelic of our mast, he says we have it solved. It wasn't long that in his day when he was up aloft. We like our bunks and sleeping bags, but what's a hammock for? Swinging from the deckbed or lying on the floor. Go all on the ropes, don't climb up the mast, and if you see a sailing ship, it might be your last. Just get your cinies ready for another run ashore. A sailor ain't a sailor, ain't a sailor anymore. Go!
Why don't we play loud?
Give her.
Bagpipe, a brand new university learning experience in the heart of Mabou. The Gaelic Foundations program is a first-year university learning experience in partnership with Cape Breton University. Immerse yourself in community, delve into a rich and living culture, and learn about the world through the viewpoint of the Gaels as you begin your next learning journey. Classes begin September of 2023. Bagpipe, we welcome you to an educational experience like no other. For more information, click your way over to benvabu.ca.
So these are the bagpipes, and to be more specific, the Great Highland bagpipes. There's a lot of different types of pipes in the world. Almost every region in Europe developed its own take on bagpipes. So these were what was developed in Scotland over centuries. One of the more recognizable pipes out there just because of their influence in the British Army. This is what you'll have seen in parades or at funerals and weddings. They're quite popular. And I'll give you a little overview of how they work. Basically, you have a blowpipe that you blow into with a one-way valve at the end. So you fill up this bag as a reservoir, and then you force the air out with this elbow. And your whole aim is to keep the stream as constant as possible and the pressure as constant as possible. When you're forcing the air out, you force them out through the other pipes. These pipes that are on my shoulder are called drones, and they just produce that one long monotone note that you hear throughout the melody. And the longer one is a bass drone, so that'll produce a B flat in this case for this instrument. And then the tenor drones will produce the same note, but an octave higher. Then the melody comes out of this pipe called the chanter. And there's a number of holes on there. And inside the casing here is what we call the reed. And it's a double-bladed cane reed, much the same as an oboe reed. It has two tongues of cane. As the air passes through it, it vibrates and produces sound. And like any other woodwind, there's a bunch of holes on it, and the longer the sound has to travel down the pipe, the deeper the note, the lower the note is. So there's 9 notes in the pipe scale, so it's a little limited in that sense, and it's also limited as an instrument because there's only one volume, fairly loud, and you can't get louder, you can't get quieter, it's just one volume all the time. So to introduce dynamics into the music, we use a lot of gracing and ornamentation, and also to separate notes because you can't stop the melody. Once you're started, it's always playing melody. So to separate the notes, you use a lot of those gracings, and that gracing and ornamentation is something that really identifies pipe music. And that ornamentation, you still see it in the fiddle music and the music we know around here and in Scotland. It's informed a lot of the stylings that we use and the ornamentation that we use on the fiddle or any instrument.
I'm Roz.
And I'm Jen of Super Duper Soup. Began about 5 years ago. It started when one friend asked me to make a bowl of soup. We were both laid off. And the next week, more friends asked for more soup. And the next thing we know,
Bing bang boom, we're working out of the Boys and Girls Club kitchen once a week doing deliveries. Did a trade show and it just went crazy from there. So we were like, we need to find our own space.
we're a small business, and when you start a small business, not really ever having been in this industry before, we had no idea what was involved.
You don't know what you don't know. Dealing with the East Coast Credit Union, it's just been so easy.
They're more than a bank. It's not every bank that knows your name. It's not every bank that comes and helps and brings you products that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, they know more than just our business. They know us, and they know what we need. They're just a part of our team, and they're there to help you. They want you to succeed.
They have a small business program, and they get what small business is in Nova Scotia. Community means everything.
We feel very supported by not only the East Coast Credit Union, but our community in downtown Dartmouth as well. building the relationship with East Coast Credit Union, I just know that going forward, they'll still be there for us. They'll continue to support us, not only as customers, but bringing us new products that will help us grow and continue to survive.